Hello everyone, my name is Hydra15 and today we'll be looking into the history of Daredevil, who in fact is my second favorite Marvel hero. And so Daredevil first appeared in April of 1964 and had a full origin and backstory in Daredevil issue 1. It was created by Stan the Man Lee and artist Bill Everett. So in the first issue, it starts off with Matt Murdock's dad battling Jack Murdock, or Jack Murdock to be exact, who raised young Matt Murdock in Hell's Kitchen's neighborhood of Manhattan in, New York. Jack pushes Matt to do further education so that his son became a better man than himself. Because you see, Jack is a boxer, and so he wants Matt to do better than himself, and he wants him to do greater things than becoming a boxer when he's older. But in the course of saving a blind man from the path of an oncoming truck with a batch of radioactive chemicals, it accidentally spills on Matt's face and blinds him. But it doesn't just blind him. As it turns out, the radioactive exposure heightens his remaining senses beyond normal human levels, which is just absolutely insane, enabling him to detect the shape and location of objects around him. So he's still blind, but he can just only see shapes of a person. So Jack, at the time, goes back into the ring, the boxing ring, so that he can support his son. But later he finds out that his matches were actually fixed and was told to lose a fight or he'll die. So there's no point of really calling him a professional boxer, So yeah, there's that. But anyways, obviously Jack refuses to lose the fight, right? Because Matt was actually in the audience. He was there and he was watching his dad taking a punch and throwing a punch. He was there, and Jack didn't really want to disappoint his son, so he had to win the fight. And he knew it was going to get him killed, because later on he did actually win the fight and he did win. But later on in the day, one of the Fixer's men got to him and murdered him. And if you don't know who Fixer is, he's basically the man that organized how Jack's fights will have to end. And so Matt finds out that his father was murdered, right? And he gets around adopting a new identity who can use physical force like punches and kicks, because he is not allowed to use violence, because he promises dad that he won't use violence to deal with things in certain situations. So he thought that if he can make a new identity, then he is okay then using violence then. So Matt donned a yellow and red costume made from his father's boxing robes and using his enhanced abilities to go with it. And to be honest, I can't really take him serious in this costume. Like, come on, be honest with yourself. Can you really take him serious in a very yellow, bright yellow and red suit? I wouldn't. But anyways, Matt confronts the killers as a vigilante Daredevil, and luckily, later on in his career, Matt donned his most famous and noticeable costume, the all-red suit, which is finally a better version than that stupid yellow and blue. Wait, did I say blue? Red, sorry. Yellow and red. Sorry about that. Anyways, getting off track right now. Matt continued his studies, right, and his secret training, and he went to Columbia to study law, and it was here he met his good friend, Franklin Foggy Nelson. Shortly, Matt and Nelson graduated and started their own law firm. They have been okay, I'm gonna say one more thing. Later, with different writers and comic book artists, Daredevil's history has been quite slightly altered, just a little bit, because when Frank Miller was actually doing the run on Daredevil, he kind of changed the history just a little bit. And if you don't know who Frank Miller is, then shame on you. He is the one that made Batman cool again. But anyways, we're not talking about Batman, we're talking about Daredevil now. So Frank wrote a mini-series called The Man Without Fear, which by far is one of my favorite Daredevil comics to read, and I highly suggest you read it if you have the chance. But yeah, Daredevil's history was slightly altered, changed the way he was trained by not himself, but a man called Styx. He was blind as well, and he was actually pretty of a badass, not gonna lie. And Miller changed how Matt has his powers because it wasn't just the chemicals that gave him powers. In this storyline, it was something that he had to learn and gain with his training with sticks. And during this run, Matt didn't wear a yellow and red costume, but wore a black costume. Like, it was just a tracksuit bottoms with black shoes, with a black headband and black jumper, sweat. Yeah, he's wearing a jumper, isn't it? And to be honest, it's kind of less stupid than him wearing a, yellow and red costume. I feel like, because this is like more realistic. If you know, it's just, it's just less stupid if you know. Anyways, let's just go on to powers and abilities, because I'm just getting way off track right now. So, Daredevil possesses a radar sense, which allows him to see everything around him. Like, he has, like, super hearing, as he can hear a person's heartbeat, which is, like, very powerful then. Super touch, which makes him feel the ink on a page, allowing him to read by touch. And he can feel temperatures change. And he has, like, super smell, which is so powerful that he can smell someone over 50 feet. Like, if he was on a building and he smelled that one person, he can still smell them and find their own, like, he can find them. And he's basically a lie detector as well, because you see, because of his enhanced hearing, he can tell if a person is lying by their heartbeats or their sweat from under pressure, right? And he has insane agility, maybe more better than Olympic athletes, because this guy can go leaping off buildings and all that. Like, it's just like a parkour artist, like times 10, you know? But Daredevil does have his weaknesses, as his radar sense has limitations. For example, Daredevil is unable to discern pictures or video images, and can only guess out colors based on the amount of heat they are absorbing or reflecting off of him. And his hearing is very sensitive, so any like loud or like very let's just say this, Daredevil is chasing after you and you shoot a gun to him, but you're still making some loud noises. Like, say if a train passes by, his hearing will let him be vulnerable, you know? Like, you can easily take him down. But that wouldn't really stop him from being a badass, because this guy is basically a ninja. And so, anyways, Daredevil does have his own good rogues gallery, as the villains that he encounters are Bullseye, a deadly killer for hire, who can use basically anything as a weapon. Like, if you were using a table and he finds you, he can use like that specific table and use it as a weapon, or he can use a chair and use it as a weapon. But he is more noticeable by having throwing cards, because that's his main trick of him. The Hand, a supervillain ninja organization, and lastly the Kingpin, which is pretty much the noticeable villain for Daredevil. Maybe Spider-Man as well, but he's with Daredevil, and he's a gangster who organizes crime around the United States. And if you want to read a little bit about Daredevil, I would recommend The Man Without Fear and Daredevil Born Again, which these two are my favorite Daredevil comics to read. Or you want to watch a TV show or a movie about him, which you're in luck, because there was a movie about Daredevil starring Ben Affleck, which was like back in 2000s, 2002 or something like that. I would recommend it, but it's not really my favorite movie. I mean, it has some cringy moments at the time, but I would not recommend it. But you can watch it at your own risk. But there is a TV show of Daredevil, and it's a Netflix show. And if you haven't watched it, I start watching it. Legit, this is a very good show. It starts off with okay, it's basically like this. If you read The Man Without Fear, that's where it's drawn to. That's what the TV show has its inspiration from. The Man Without Fear, because in the first season, he starts having like a black clothes, just be the vigilante, you know. But it's a really good show, and I highly recommend it to anyone. Like, period. This thing is just so amazing. Like, even people I know cannot stop watching this. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. This is the end of the video, and I highly suggest you go like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'll make more videos by next week, and always stay positive and peace.